This video is going to be on Owen Hart, and it's also going to be looking into, because it's been 25, 26 years since uh, the death of Owen Hart, from that tragic accident at Over the Edge, 1999. And it's also going to be looking at his legacy and the modern day stuff, with the link up with the Owen Hart Foundation, with his family, with Martha and his son Oj, with the Owen Hart Cup, and with Owen Hart being in the EAW um, game Fight Forever, with Owen Hart, winners of the Owen Hart tournaments, winning the Owen Hart Cup, and winning the Owen Hart belt. So we will get into that as well. So yeah, it's going to be a bit about Owen Hart, life, and then obviously about his tragic death, but also his legacy, as in coming back to like the modern day, and about the Owen Hart Foundation and things like that. So Owen Hart was born in Calgary, Alberta, Canada, the youngest of the Hart family. He was born in Calgary, Alberta, Canada, in May 7th, 1965. Owen Hart was also in his career went by the name Blue Blazer in the WWF at the time, WWE currently. Um, Owen Hart was the youngest of the Hart family, youngest of the Hart brothers. In his time in the WWF, he he um he had gimmicks of obviously Owen Hart as part of the Hart Foundation, and he tag teamed with uh, Yokozuna and Jeff Jarrett. Um, he was the winner of the 1994 King of the Ring tournament as well, um, beating beating quite a decent field to win that tournament in 1994. Um, Owen Hart, Owen Hart also, during his career in the ring, he was Owen Hart was the IWGP Junior Heavyweight Champion one time. He had also 4 wins as a WWF Tag Team Champion, with where he tag teamed up with the British Bulldog, and he's pretty much his best friend Jeff Jarrett. And he also won it twice with the Yokozuna as well. He was also a 2-time Intercontinental Champion and a 1-time European Champion. Um, he also won Feud of the Year from 1997 for the Hart Foundation versus Stone Cold feud. Owen, obviously, as with that feud with Stone Cold in 1997 at SummerSlam, Owen had a match with Stone Cold Steve Austin for the IC title, where Owen was to lose. Owen lost the match to Stone Cold Steve Austin, but sadly, Stone Cold broke his neck in a pile driver that went wrong. And Owen obviously felt bad about that. Obviously, in an interview he gave, that you never want anything to go wrong in a ring. Owen was obviously a serious wrestler, as Stone Cold was as well, and like he never wanted anything to go wrong in the ring. So I think Owen felt a bit guilty about that. Yeah. So as we go on to Owen Hart, obviously Owen Hart was in at the end of 1997. Bret Hart left WWF to go to WCW. Basically, Vince came to Bret and said, basically, we can't afford to pay you the salary that you want. So So Bret goes and signs with the WCW, but on the way out, his last match uh, on his contract with WWF at the time was against Shawn Michaels in Canada at the 1997 Survivor Series. Um, Sadly, Bret was screwed in something called the Montreal Screwjob, where basically um, Bret Hart, Shawn Michaels got Bret Hart in his own finishing maneuver, the sharpshooter, and the referee Earl Hebner was basically told to ring the bell, even though obviously Bret Hart hadn't submitted and actually was working his way to reverse the hold. Um, Bret was double crossed and was double crossed that night, and then subsequently went to WCW. However, Owen Hart was still in the WWF and was tied down to a long term contract, so he couldn't go anywhere. And um, he was promised a push by the WWF management, but it got uh, back in 1999. He moved over to back to being the Blue Blazer gimmick, which he had used um, in in the 93, I believe, in the WWF. So he's reprising this role, which is the gimmick was supposed to be a comedy gimmick where he was a superhero, but also it was a jokey character as well, where it was comedic effect character where he would wear the blue blazer, mask and outfit, and would do goofy things in the ring, and would parody certain big stars of the time. Um, so in 1999, uh, in Kansas City, Missouri, on the 23rd of May 1999, WWE was in Kansas City for a pay per view called WWF Over the Edge '99. That was meant to be obviously was headlined um, by The Undertaker versus Stone Cold, the WWF title with Shane McMahon as a special guest referee. Um, but before that match, earlier on in the card, Owen Hart was supposed to wrestle the Godfather for the Intercontinental title in a match that Owen was going to go over and become the Intercontinental champion. But sadly, um, the there was riggers in town that supposedly was rigging up Sting from WCW, and Vince Russo at the time looked down the list of matches for Over the Edge and felt that the only person on the card that fitted that sort of entrance, like a superhero like entrance, was Owen Hart. So Owen Hart was to descend from the rafters down into the ring, and then unhook himself, um, and like fall into the ring safely. Um, However, this night Owen went up to the rafters. Um, they went to a pre-taped interview with Kevin Kelly and the Blue Blazer, and on the original audio of the night of the pay per view, you hear you see him you see Kevin Kelly interviewing Owen Hart as the Blue Blazer, but you hear a thud, like a you hear a thud, an audible thud in the background, and the picture goes a little bit fuzzy, and then the next minute you hear Jim Ross, who was basically lead commentator, uh, working with Jerry the King Lawler, who basically says we've got big problems out here, um, and then he basically says that Owen Hart, as you know, as the Blue Blazer, was supposed to make a superhero like entrance, and he fell from the ceiling. He goes, we don't want to go into what broke, well, the harness broke, or what the malfunction was, but right at this time, a serious incident in the ring. This is not a part of the entertainment. We're here to have fun and entertain, and this does neither. Um, and then his commentary colleague, Jerry the King Lawler, goes into the ring and had Owen's head in his was looking over Owen, and he comes back to the commentary desk and basically says, the King says, it doesn't look good at all. Uh, so yeah, and then the next thing is the go on to the next match. And the next match was supposed to be Jeff Jarrett and Deborah versus Val Venus and Nicole Bass. We go back to Jeff Jarrett with Deborah to do an interview before his match, and basically, as WWE have now with that broadcast, they have edited out the bit where Jeff Jarrett's crying and he says, "We're praying for you, Owen." So yeah, like, so the show continues. Well, obviously, whether it been the right idea to go on with the show or the wrong idea, I'm not going to get into that right now in this video. But obviously, I know, obviously, Jeff Jarrett having to wrestle after hearing about what happened to his friend. I can only imagine how hard that would have been. And so um, so he gets GR gets to hear back from the person in his ear, and he basically says, he hits the talkback button. He says, I haven't had an update on Owen Hart, and the guy on the other end says he's dead and you're back in 10, 9. So poor GR had 10 seconds to process the information that Owen Hart had sadly died from that accident over the edge, and had to conjure up something that was legible for the viewing audience at home watching on pay-per-view. This was obviously really sad. Owen Hart was only was in his early 30s when he had died, and he left a wife, Martha Hart, and his 2 children, George and Athena. So this was really sad, and it was a really tragic accident. And the next day, in St. Louis, the show was a tribute to Owen Hart, known now as, and now at the time I think it was called that as well. It's called Raw is Owen. So for this show, all storylines was put aside, and people wrestled who wanted to wrestle, and they give tributes to Owen Hart, and yeah, they give tributes to Owen Hart, and some couple of wrestlers give tributes and wrestled that night. so yeah, after that, so um, so after that, Owen's Hart after Owen Hart's death, the day after, obviously the Raw is Owen show. I can only imagine how the wrestlers, the rest of his wrestlers and his family and his friends felt. Like um, it's well known that the wrestlers on the road were like family to each other. They were very close. Um, Jeff Jarrett and Owen would joke about that they saw each other more than they saw their own wives, so they were very close. And now, so Owen Hart, Owen Hart, Owen Hart's legacy now. So in 20 and Martha Hart has been very against WWE making any money off Owen, um, due to how he died and how Martha believes that WWE was fully at fault for the accident of Owen's death. Um, However, WWE did get in 2015, I believe, they did release a DVD set and a Blu-ray set known called Owen Hart Heart of Gold. This had a documentary about Owen on it. Plus, it had some of Owen's best matches, and also on bonus features on the Blu-ray edition, they had all the tributes that the wrestlers had um, given to uh, have given uh, about Owen the night after he died on Raw is Owen. Um, so yeah, like so that was in 2015, and to this day, that's the only DVD or merchandise of Owen Hart WWE's been allowed to release. Uh, in 2021, EAW, who is another wrestling promotion, had basically uh, in in with obviously Martha Hart's blessing and link up with the Owen Hart Foundation that she set up in her husband's name. Um, they also have bought out merchandise of Owen Hart. EAW has bought out an Owen Hart action figure, and also um, they have a tournament every year from 2021. I believe. I think it's been since from 2021. Um, of the Owen Hart Cup, which is a single format quarterfinal, semi-final, final tournament, with the winner winning an Owen Hart Memorial Belt, but also an Owen Hart Cup. Um, and so we've had, as I speak to you now, they've just announced the brackets for this year's Owen Hart Cup, which is 2025's Owen Hart Cup, where the finals will be held at AEW's pay-per-view Double or Nothing. Um, uh, the the so the so speaking from experience of last year's Owen Hart Cup, um, in the past there's been winners of to name a couple, Adam Cole and Ricky Starks on the men's side, and last year Brian Danielson won, and on the female winners, you've had Dr. Britt Baker and also Mariah May have won Owen Hart Cups, and Willow Nightingale also has won the Owen Hart Cup so far. Um, the so last year, the winners of the Owen Hart Cup challenged for the world titles um, at EAW All In Wembley. I was personally there with my best friend at Wembley, at Wembley for EAW's All All In 2024. It was an amazing experience. Obviously for those who and it was interesting because both winners of the Owen Hart Cup went on and actually won the world titles, EAW's versions of the world titles. Mariah May beating Tony Storm and Brian Danielson where his career on the line, beating Swerve Strickland in the main event in an awesome match from last year at Wembley. Um, Owen Hart is also featured in the EAW Fight Forever video game as well, keeping his legacy alive. Also, and Jeff Jarrett entered the Owen Hart Foundation Cup last year, and spoke about his him and Owen's friendship and how much it meant to him for to have the Owen Hart Cup in EEW and uh, still um, keep Owen's legacy alive through this way, which I think personally it's a great thing. Obviously, Owen Hart wasn't around when EEW was a thing, but this is a way for Owen Hart's legacy to live on. Obviously, while I while I while I agree with it not being in WWE, that WWE don't get to do anything else with his legacy. That's maybe for another day, but I think it's good that Owen Hart's legacy is being respected and being thing with the Owen Hart Cup and these Owen Hart belts. I will put up a photo of the Owen Hart Cup and the Owen Hart belt that were winners of um, both the men and the women's tournament will get. Um, and I will, yeah, and I will, I think, um, and I think, you know, like in closing, Owen Hart, um, Owen Hart was a great wrestler. He obviously uh, had a breakthrough in his early career by beating Bret Hart at WrestleMania 10, and then Bret ended up winning the title later on in the night. So showing he showed his pedigree by beating his brother at WrestleMania 10, and obviously he won many championships in his career. Owen was very famous for his ribs that were funny, sometimes at his own expense, not cruel ribs, but very what you would describe harmless ribs, but also he would make his fellow wrestlers laugh on the road, and nobody uh, to this day I've not heard anyone say a bad word about Owen Hart. He was a great man and a great father and a great friend, and he was a good man. And Owen Hart is still sadly missed to this day. I'm glad his legacy will live on through this work in the AEW, and potentially maybe AEW will be able to um, work with uh, work with the Owen Hart Foundation more with other things, and maybe even certain events in Canada and things. We obviously I don't know that at the minute. Obviously, we only really see what's happening per year, sort of as it's announced sometimes. So yeah, but I think Owen Hart's legacy will but he was a great wrestler, a great man, a man who died sadly uh, before his time due to a tragic accident. But the Owen Hart Foundation do some great work with underprivileged children and people that need a little bit of a boost up to get a scholarship. And um, yeah, I think Owen helping other people through his foundation would make him very, very proud. And I think he will be very proud of his wife, his widow, Martha, and he's proud of his daughter, Athena, and his son, Oj, um, that they are keeping his legacy alive through the Owen Hart Foundation. Um, and yeah, I think I think um, I think the I think for me personally, obviously, I started watching wrestling in August 2000. So at the time, I didn't see Owen Hart's matches, but I remember going. Uh, I remember um, starting to watch wrestling in 2000 and hearing of what happened with the tragedy of Owen Hart. And I remember our local newspaper in the UK. One of them had the story about his death, so it was obviously a massive incident that come around the whole world, really. Um, but yeah, I think ultimately, uh, he's, he will be remembered as a good man, a funny man, a kind man, a man that would save a lot of money, would try to be as cheap as possible, and sometimes he would get made fun of by that. But he was cheap because he wanted to make a better life for his family and to be a good husband by providing for his family, and that's got to be uh, respected. And finally, I just want to say how, that Owen Hart will still be is still sadly missed to this day, uh, and the King of Owen Hart, the King of Hearts, um, will always uh, will always have a legacy of a good wrestler, and an even better man. So thank you for this thank you for watching this video, um, and I uh, don't forget to like and subscribe if you like it, um, and leave your comments in the comment section about it. But thank you for watching, um, and I'll see you in the next video. Ta-ra.